Hi class, you have a big presentation coming up on Wednesday, so I've looked at some of the drafts of your EBP presentation, and I just wanted to go over a few tips for presentations. So first of all, you might do presentations for class, but there's also presentations that you can do at professional conferences. So I'll go over a little bit about maybe some of the differences between those. And if you follow this link, I'll put these slides in the announcement. There's a great little video linked right here that you can watch about PowerPoints. So presentations are useful to share information with your colleagues. They can guide you as the presenter about what you're going to talk about. And there's different types of apps for you to use to present your slides. Those can be PowerPoint, Google Slides, or Prezi. I will refer to PowerPoint because it is the most used, but also this refers to Google Slides, which I know almost all of you are going to use for this EBP presentation, which is great. The advantage of Google Slides is you just share a link with somebody and then they can look at your presentation. For PowerPoint, you have to download it, share the download, and if you've narrated on each slide, the file can be so huge that it's unable to open. So presentation instructions will vary. So if you're going to go to a professional conference, they will send you presentation guidelines. So always look at those. For this presentation, you've had instructions that were up on Canvas. You also want to consider your audience when you are doing a presentation. So are you making a presentation for the public, somebody who might not know too much about your content or your topic? Or are you making a presentation for professionals who know a lot about your topic? If you're making a presentation for the public, you might want to just use lay terms. But if you're making it for professionals, such as individuals in your class, use professional terminology. So presentation guidelines, fix that there. So APA does say that when you are communicating, you should use APA style, which includes writing clearly and concisely. They also say that you should credit sources when you are using anything that is not general knowledge. And you should use bias-free language. So all of this APA style does pertain to your presentation. APA style does not dictate specific details such as your font size, the amount of text on a slide, your color scheme, or any animations that you use. This is really based on best practices. So some of these best practices about color and font are dictated by making things ADA compliant. So it is recommended that you use a sans serif type font. Those are the ones that don't have letters, kind of like if you think of Times New Roman, it would have a T with the hanging on each side of the T. There's a little curve almost to it, but in Arial, Comic Sans, Franklin Gothic, and Trebuchet. Not sure if I say all those right, but those do not have any kind of extra curves to the letters. So you should use one a kind of font that is sans serif when you're doing presentations. That does not pertain to when you're writing a paper for class and you want to use Times New Roman. This is just talking about in presentations. You want to make sure that your font sizes are large and that you use the same font on all slides. If you are going to use two fonts, or different fonts, make sure it's only two different types of fonts per slide. You want to use contrasting colors. So if, for example, if you have a white background and you use a light pink as your color, it's going to be really hard to see that. So make sure there is big contrast between the colors. And never write in all caps. That conveys kind of a negative shouting tone. One of the biggest issues that I have seen in some of the presentations I've looked at so far, it's really the content on the slides. So you want to make sure that your content on the slides is not your script, so you're not reading right from your slides. Your PowerPoint should be an outline, and you should have one topic per slide, and then you want to have bullets as an outline almost on each slide. So kind of a general rule of thumb here is if you're having an 8 to 10 minute presentation, you want to have about 4 to 5 slides. 20-minute presentation, which this is 10 to 15 slides. You should have usually about 8 bullet points max per slide, and each of those bullet points should only have 8 words per line. If you exceed these limitations, people might just tune out. They're going to be trying to read your slides at the same time when you're talking, and that's really difficult, and you will lose people because they are unable to do both those tasks. So when you're doing your PowerPoint, don't read word from word from the screen. Try to look at your audience. Try to transition between each slide nicely. If you are pulling up a slide, don't assume that just because you have a title here about what you're going to talk about, that your audience follows along with that. Have like a little introduction to each slide. And also think that, you shouldn't just have words on your slide. You can have something like photos or cartoons that can engage your the attention of people, your colleagues who you're presenting to. And if people are kind of been tuned out a little bit, having a pop-up of a picture or something might re-engage them to get them to focus back on your presentation. Make sure you're choosing your images carefully. There's a lot of different images available out there. They should be intentional, they should be simple, high quality in color, and they should have citations on them if needed. So the rule of thumb would be to include the citation or the site where you got the picture. There are, for example, some types of publicly freely available images. So this one right here says right here, no attribution required. So if I were to use this photo, I would not have to cite it. If it doesn't have something that says you don't have to cite it, then assume that you do and include a little citation at the bottom. So when you are doing citations on a slide, if you have a bullet point or several bullet points on one slide and they have all come from the same source, then you can put the source in a text box down at the bottom. each bullet point you've taken from a different source, then you can put the citation right here, the author and the year. And say if this bullet point came from a different source, then you would put it in the different author here, or author 2 and the year. But if it does all come from the same source, you can just do like a text box and then put the citation right there. There are a few resources. So if you go to Canvas and you go to the week 0 or module 0, there's some information in here, and there's the Speaking Center and Designing Effective PowerPoint video from OWL, the Purdue Online Writing Lab. These are also here that I've given for you, and I have hyperlinks to each one of those resources in Purdue OWL. I have some great articles here too about preparing and delivering presentations, writing in the digital age, one by Nickel and Shin. This is a great one, tips, tricks, and traps from Clary Sayers and Kornhaber. And then how to avoid death by PowerPoint is the little video that I showed you in the beginning. It's kind of fun to watch too. So hopefully this helps. Please let me know if you have any questions, and good luck, everybody.